Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our October breastfeeding information session. Today, we are live with our two WIC breastfeeding professionals. We have Hada, our breastfeeding peer counselor senior here at Austin Public Health. And then we also have Nissa, who she floats at different clinics. So you've probably seen her around in Austin. And she's one of our amazing breastfeeding peer counselors here at the Austin Public Health WIC program. So they're going to go over the topic of breastfeeding in public today. So we'll be live streaming this session, but if you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below. If you're watching it live or the recording, we'll get back to those questions as soon as we can. But thank you so much, and I hope that you guys enjoy this topic today.
Hi, everyone. My name is 𝗙ihe𝗮𝘕. I am a breastfeeding peer counselor senior for the City of Austin WIC program, and I have worked for WIC for 15 years. I have 4 children. I have breastfed them all, my last child, 5 years. And I'm very passionate about breastfeeding, and today we're going to talk about breastfeeding in public. Nissa.
Hi, I'm 𝗙ihe𝗮𝘕ause. I've been a breastfeeding peer counselor for WIC here in Austin for 4 years now. I have 2 children and then 1 on the way. I've breastfed, I guess, a total of 7 years altogether. I love breastfeeding also. I think it's the most wonderful thing ever. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about it today.
Awesome. So, breastfeeding in public. It's common to feel anxious or nervous about breastfeeding, especially breastfeeding in public. Some moms feel more anxiety before baby's born, others feel more after baby's born. Practice and support will help ease fears, support groups with other new moms. Austin is a treasure trove of breastfeeding support groups and breastfeeding support. So if you do want that breastfeeding support, there is quite a bit that's available out there. WIC breastfeeding peer counselors, lactation consultants, all of these people can, you can talk to help ease your fears about breastfeeding your baby in public. Things to consider. Breastfeeding in public is covered by Texas law. If you have a legal right to be somewhere, public places of all types, you can breastfeed your baby. Moms should feel comfortable to breastfeed however they would like. Layered shirts that can be easily adjusted, a light blanket or a cover if you prefer. Although no cover is required anywhere, if you do want to breastfeed without a cover, that is your choice.
Okay, what if someone says something negative? Which might happen. Sometimes it's unavoidable, but breastfeeding in public is your legal right. And most moms don't have any issues or never approached by anyone. Local WIC offices will be able to give you a pocket-sized card that explains this law. And you can share that with anyone if it ever happens that approached you. So you can keep it in your wallet. It looks a little something like this. And it states a mother is entitled to breastfeed her baby at any location the mother is authorized to be. So anywhere that you're allowed to be, you are allowed to feed your baby. How can I feel more confident breastfeeding in public? It is normal to feel nervous, especially if it's the first time that you're doing it. But the more that you nurse in public, the more comfortable you're going to feel. It does get better and easier over time. You might want to practice around other supportive moms, other moms that are also breastfeeding and kind of going through the same thing as you. You can always practice in front of a mirror. And really, if we're wearing the right things, it's revealing less, right, than you might think. When you're talking to people, you want to look at them, keep eye contact so they know it's okay to look at you and talk to you. And if you're by yourself, you can just focus on your baby. Look at your baby because they'll definitely be looking at you. Remind yourself you're doing a great job.
Other tips. Well, sometimes you can plan your day around your baby's feeding schedule. You can feed before you leave the house, and that way baby may not be hungry for 2 to 3 hours. This is something I used to do a lot with my second and third baby because I wasn't that comfortable with breastfeeding in public with those two. But with my fourth baby, I breastfed in public everywhere. But yes, I would nurse, and right before I needed, to go somewhere, and I knew my baby was good for 2 to 3 hours, I would go run my errand and come back. Using a sling or a wrap is another great option that I used to use also as well. It's a great option in the grocery store, a laundromat, or while doing chores at home. Wearing your baby in the sling and breastfeeding at the same time, nobody can tell, nobody can see what you're doing. So it's very discreet, and it's very helpful to be able to have that as an option too. Other tips: choose a layered option with a tank top and an open button-down shirt or sweater over. Choosing a discreet nursing top with the slits. They have convenient access. Choose an easy access bra that have the clips at the top where you can be able to easily access and get the baby latched on comfortably. Stretchy or official nursing bra, these unclip easily and they're very discreet.
Some more tips are picking a great spot. You want to make sure that you're comfy. You can sit somewhere comfy and have some back support. If that's unavailable, you're just going to choose a spot where you can organize yourself, right? Even if it's temporary, quick feeding. But try not to get too stressed about finding the perfect spot. Your baby is hungry, and that's going to take priority, right? So just finding a way where you're going to feel most comfortable. Those great dressing options. I did like a tank top, kind of like a spaghetti strap with a t-shirt over for a lot of those early days. So I could kind of pick that t-shirt up and then pull that second layer down. And it was really, you couldn't see much of anything. So I felt really comfortable, but don't get too stressed. If you're concerned, you want to look for places that are less visible. You could pick like a next to the window on the bus or the corner booth in the restaurant. You can even kind of turn your back to that wall when you're doing the actual latching of your baby. If you're concerned about someone seeing your breast, right? Just try to face away if you can.
Consider a cover-up. So if you're feeling really uncomfortable about breastfeeding in public, consider covering with a light blanket or a commercial nursing cover. They usually have an opening where you can look down and be able to see what you're doing as you're latching your baby. Practicing before at home, just in case. The cover upsets the baby, is also helpful. Some babies do not want a cover, will not accept a cover. They will pull off the cover, and that defeats the whole purpose. So, so definitely trying like in front of a mirror or two can be helpful just to see, what are other people seeing. But yes, 𝗙cie, I really like the tank top or the spaghetti strap idea with the sweater over because it's like it offers like a double kind of coverage. So you actually can use your sweater as kind of a cover so people can't really see what you're doing. So it's kind of stealthy, but it works.
You got to plan those outfits out.
Always, right? And make sure you've got that nursing bra on so you can easily get to,
access
able to latch. Yes. Many breastfeeding supporters do not like covers because it sends a message that breastfeeding in public is wrong. But for some moms, this may be the only or the main way that they feel comfortable. And that is more than okay. You do what works for you. If you want to use a cover, you should certainly use a cover. And if you want to breastfeed in public and not cover at all, that is also your prerogative. Do what makes you happy.
More tips. You smile, right? We want to show our confidence that we are happy about what we're doing. We're confident. Smile at someone, even if they seem upset. If we show a friendly smile, we might diffuse that situation and, the conflict of it all. And you're doing something very important for your baby, something really good. You're giving them the best food, the most perfect food for them. And that's a good thing. Plan your response. If someone approaches you and you have a planned response, you're more likely to stay calm. And I was always thinking about things, right? Like, what if somebody says something to me? Like, what will I do? But if you're feeling upset or bullied, you are always welcome to just walk away from that situation. Just know that you've done nothing wrong, right? Because it's the law. You are allowed to breastfeed your baby wherever you are allowed to be. If there's an issue with a business, you can always send a letter or write an email later. Now we have so many ways to leave reviews on things. So if anyone, especially here in Austin, gives you a hard time about breastfeeding in public, that's a great option.
By nursing in public, you're showing other moms that it is possible to give your baby the best nutrition anytime, any place. You may even make some friends, help someone else feel more confident, receive compliments, or create new connections. So we're going to talk about some personal experiences. So essa, tell me, from your time breastfeeding in public, what kind of things did you encounter? Have you had any negative experiences, or have they all been positive? How's it been?
I feel like mostly it's been positive for me. I did with my first baby, and he was about 6 months old, and I was working at the Longhorn Roadhouse, actually, over here off of 𝗙cie years ago. And I was just there with my family, and we were having lunch. And I was breastfeeding my baby right there at the table. I didn't use a cover because he was one of those babies that just was like, get this thing off of me. I'm hot. I don't like it. So we ditched the cover. And I'm breastfeeding him. And a little while later, our server comes up to me, who, of course, I'm working there, so we know each other. It's like, yeah, there's a table, down the way that called the manager over and actually asked for you to move. They didn't want to see you breastfeeding. They wanted you to be moved to a different table. And the manager's response, which he did a great job, gold star for him, he offered to move her table. He said, I can move you to a different space if that's, what you're wanting, but she can breastfeed her baby here. She's a paying customer. She is allowed to breastfeed her baby here. So that was, I would say, not totally negative because it made me feel empowered, right? I had this support around me saying, it's okay, this negative stuff that's happening, we're not even going to acknowledge it or, deal with that at all. And I wasn't approached directly, which was also probably nice because I probably would have lost it. I would have wanted one of those cards, lady, it's the law. But yeah, that was one of my only kind of negative experiences. What about you?
I haven't actually had personal negative experiences. Luckily, I've only had positive ones or none. But I breastfed my youngest child everywhere in public and without a cover because who has time to remember to grab a cover. Oh, I got to take that cover with me. I don't even remember my shopping bags when you go to the store, right? So anyway, yeah, when baby needs to feed, I mean, we're gonna breastfeed anywhere, anytime, and that baby needs to be fed. So I did used to pick a lot of aisles in stores. I did breastfeed probably in every single store that, at Costco, at Whole Foods, at Central Market, HEB. But I always would pick kind of a secluded, quiet aisle and of course, that was the aisle that all of a sudden 3 or 4 people needed to come down. But that's okay. It was fine. I wasn't embarrassed. It's just I was ready for any kind of, comment. And I was more on, guard, waiting to see if someone was going to approach me and say something. But I was ready with a response. So luckily, nobody ever approached me. I did once witness, though, a woman who told kind of like your server story. She made a comment out loud about her, I guess, displeasure and how could that person over there be breastfeeding. And so yeah, there's definitely people that do not appreciate normalizing breastfeeding or breastfeeding in public. And what do you want to breastfeed where you feel comfortable and be ready with a response. I mean, that's all you can do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think, would you want to eat in a bathroom? Would you take your meal into the bathroom? No, that's going to be as private as it gets when you're in a public place, right? Unless you went out to the hot car. So we have to think about those things. And I mean, from the moms that I talk to, I think I hear the most that the negative response comes even from family members, right? Like we're just in a family member's home and wanting to feed the baby, and someone is got something to say, probably because they feel more comfortable, or that they have the right to have that kind of comment or opinion. So we really do need to be strong in our conviction to breastfeed our babies and just remind people, this milk is the perfect for this baby. This milk is good. This is what I'm doing. And they're hungry. They're going to eat. If you were hungry, I wouldn't tell you not to eat.
And another cool thing is you can carry around those cards that 𝗙cie showed, and you can have. I used to have some of those when I used to carry a purse. I don't carry a purse anymore, so I don't have space for that. But I used to carry them, and when I would see anyone breastfeeding in public, I used to give them the card. So that's another nice thing you can do. If you see someone who's breastfeeding, smile at them. I'm sure that they are feeling just a little bit on guard too. And so by you doing that, makes them feel more comfortable. But yes, definitely. We have to normalize breastfeeding. I will be honest, I did not breastfeed in public with my other children because I was kind of shy. And, the longer you breastfeed, that starts to fall away and your shyness tends to go away to the point where you need to feed your baby. And I won't lie, seeing other women in public breastfeeding their babies definitely encouraged me and made me feel empowered and want to actually be able to try myself and, be less apprehensive. So that's why with that 4th child, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this anywhere. And that's what I used to do. So the more
I love that you gave them the card walking by. Whenever I see a mom breastfeeding too, if we make eye contact, I give her the best smile and just, just love that. It's wonderful. Yeah, so we have to empower each other. You're right.
Yes. Especially moms who are breastfeeding older children. I'm sure that they can also feel, much more, on guard as well, because it's an older child. It's not a little infant. We did have a mom once. We came out of a breastfeeding meeting and she was breastfeeding. I believe he was her 3-year-old. And she had a look on her face. And you could tell she was waiting in case anyone approached. And at the time, we had just made the Keep Austin Breastfeeding shirts, the new batch. And so I walked over and I gave her a shirt and her face changed immediately. I think she thought that I was going to walk over and say something not nice. And she started crying. And I thought it was really sweet. So she was worried. And then it was me and a group of other breastfeeding people. So yeah, we have to be really mindful and as encouraging as possible.
Yeah, you totally made her day. And we're lucky to live here in Austin. I feel like Austin is very breastfeeding positive for the most part. We're really lucky for that, I think. So yeah, I hope if you're ever breastfeeding your baby in public, you remember, right, some of these things, and remember we're rooting for you. And you have so many generations of women, right, that have done this with you. And yes, we want you to succeed.
And we do have pamphlets at the WIC office that do go over breastfeeding in public. And if you do want that, definitely ask your peer counselor. Don't forget, you're nourishing your baby with the most biologically appropriate food. And as a great side benefit, you're educating anyone who may see you. The more we see breastfeeding in public, the more it is normalized in our culture. Keep Austin breastfeeding. WIC is here to help. WIC Scheduling Center, if you need to change an appointment, make an appointment, 512-972-4942. If you need breastfeeding help after having your baby, Mom's Place Lactation Support Center is there for you, 512-972-6700. And breastmilkcounts.org is a great resource with lots of videos and resources for breastfeeding education. Check it out when you have time.
Thank you so much, ladies. I learned so much just from this short presentation, and it's just really beautiful to see how y'all have been able to create community around breastfeeding and supporting other families. So it's such a beautiful thing to be able to advocate for something that's normal and natural and healthy for our babies. So thank you so much for being advocates for positive change in our community. And I really appreciate the time that you guys took to go over this presentation. So thank you so much. And if you're watching, thank you so much for watching. And we're here for you. If you ever have any questions about breastfeeding, feel free to give us a call. But thank you so much to everyone who joined us.